When humanity joins hands to build a tower of glory for the ego and pushes the creator to the side, the result is shattered language, divided hearts, and people who suddenly feel like strangers to one another. And you, day by day, what kind of tower are you quietly building with your life? A tower for your own ego, or a tower for the one who created you? Before we dive into the details, I invite you, don't scroll away. Stay with this video until the end. The journey of the Babylonians building their tower is not just an ancient story. It's a mirror held up to our world today. When people get drunk on power, lift the self up to the clouds, and forget the God who made them, what do you think happens next? After the Great Flood, centuries passed. The earth slowly dried, trees grew again, herds of animals roamed freely over the fields. The descendants of Noah multiplied and began to spread out. At first, they lived in small groups, close-knit like one big family. They all spoke the same language. They didn't need interpreters. They didn't have to try hard to understand each other. A nod, a simple word, a short sentence was enough. One day, a group of people left their home and traveled eastward together. They crossed gentle hills and wide rivers. Under their feet was the thick mud of the rich Mesopotamian plain. After many days of journeying, they stopped at a vast plain in the land of Shinar. The ground there was flat. Rivers curved gently through the land. The climate was mild. Everywhere they looked, they saw the green of life. The leader looked around and said,
"This is the perfect place. We will settle here. We won't just put up temporary tents anymore. We will build a strong city so our children won't have to wander from place to place."
That idea was like a spark landing on dry straw. Everyone eagerly agreed. They buzzed with excitement about a bright, secure future. But in the middle of those conversations, another idea, bolder and more dangerous, began to spread.
"A city alone is not enough to make our name great,"
said a well-dressed man with a thick beard.
"We must do something no one has ever dared to do. A project so great that the whole world will look up and speak our name with awe."
"What exactly are you talking about?" many asked, curious. He pointed up to the clear blue sky.
A tower that reaches straight into the heavens. We will build it so high that people will say, 'This is where humans have touched the sky.' That way we will gain a name that never dies. No one will ever dare to look down on us."
The eyes around him suddenly lit up. Another man shouted,
"If all of us work together with one language and one purpose, what can't we do? Come on, let's build a city and a tower that pierces the sky, so we will not be scattered all over the earth, but united as one great people."
That call was like the beat of a war drum. The whole people rushed into action. However, there was a problem in this new land. There were almost no stones. If they wanted to build city walls and raise a tower, they had to find another kind of material. The skillful workers came up with a way. They mixed mud with straw, poured it into molds, dried it in the sun, and then baked it in a kiln until it hardened into bricks. Thick black pitch from tar pits was used as mortar to hold the bricks together. The city began to take shape. Thick walls rose. Strong gates stood like warriors guarding the entrance. Straight brick roads ran from the city gates all the way to the center, where the tower was climbing higher day by day. At first, it was just a square foundation. Then came the first level, the second level, the third level. The lower levels were wide. The higher they built, the smaller each level became, forming ring-like terraces spiraling up the tower. The ramps were long and steep, wrapping around the structure. Workers had to walk in circles for a long time just to reach their work spot. The higher the tower rose, the prouder they felt. Every evening when the red sun sank into the horizon, the tower glowed as if painted gold. Its shadow stretched long across the fields. People stood at the base looking up, and a strange pride swelled in their hearts.
"One day we will touch the sky,"
a young worker said as he wiped sweat from his forehead.
"One day the whole world will speak of us as the greatest nation."
Another replied, "No one mentioned God. No one remembered the one who gave them sunshine and rain so they could work. No one thanked the one who gave them minds to invent and bodies strong enough to carry." Every sentence circled one phrase: we, ourselves. From heaven, God looked down. He saw a city growing larger and larger. He saw a tower boldly stabbing into the sky. He saw faces glowing with satisfaction and pride. He heard lips that only praised themselves. God knew that if they kept going, their hearts would drift farther and farther from him. God said, "Look, they are one people, and they all speak the same language. They have begun to do this, and now nothing they plan will be impossible for them. But they are not seeking me. They are building glory only for themselves. Let us go down and confuse their language so they will no longer understand each other." That day, the construction site was as noisy as ever. A bricklayer shouted, "Bring me 10 more bricks." But the man carrying the bricks looked up and frowned. "What did you just say?" "I said, bring the bricks up here," the bricklayer snapped. But at that very moment, he realized the words coming out of his mouth no longer sounded familiar. They were twisted, strange, like a language from a faraway land. On another part of the tower, a group of workers was pulling on ropes to lift materials higher. The foreman yelled, "Hurry up, pull together, don't let it slip." But the others only heard a stream of sounds that meant nothing to them. They froze and stared at him in confusion. "What is he saying?" "I don't know, he sounds like a drunk babbling nonsense." Anger flared inside the foreman. He shouted even louder. The louder he shouted, the more tangled his words became. The workers answered back, but their words sounded just as strange to him. Within a single morning, the whole site turned into chaos. People tried to give orders, but commands turned into meaningless noise. They argued, they misunderstood, they yelled and shoved one another. A heavy stone was pulled off balance and crashed down, nearly killing a worker at the base of the tower. His terrified scream echoed through the site. Fear began to spread. Soon, each group discovered they could only talk with a certain set of people, those who spoke the same strange new words. They gathered into separate clusters and turned their backs on the others. No one could direct the construction as a whole anymore. No one spoke a language that everyone understood. The leaders tried to call a meeting, but it went nowhere. One spoke, the others heard only noise. The whole room buzzed with dozens of different languages. It was loud on the outside, but powerless on the inside. In the end, they could only look at each other and shake their heads. Without real communication, they could no longer build. The great project suddenly became a half-finished wreck. Scaffolding stood empty, carts full of bricks sat motionless. The pitch hardened into useless clumps. The tower soared upward, then stopped abruptly in the middle of the sky, like a proud arm stretched out and frozen in place. Finally, each group decided to leave. They gathered their belongings, called their families, held their children close, and led their animals away in search of new lands. One group headed toward the mountains, another went down to the sea, others followed the rivers deep into the interior. Each group carried with it a different language. Each group had its own way of naming the sky, the earth, the water, and the fire. People who once worked side by side on the same tower became separate nations living in faraway lands. The city slowly emptied. The tower stood alone in the plain. Its steps are covered in dust. Its bricks are cracking. Its pitch is breaking apart. The wind whistled through the gaps, sounding like the sigh of a proud dream that had shattered. People called that place Babel, meaning confusion and chaos, because God confused the language of humanity and forced them to scatter across the earth. To this day, whenever we look at huge, overambitious projects that stretch beyond all limits, we remember the Tower of Babel. The story does not forbid humans to build or to create, but it warns us. If we only build towers of fame for ourselves, if we forget God and forget each other, then our own pride and division will bring everything crashing down. That is a wake-up call for every generation, including you and me. If the story of the Tower of Babel touched you, if it helped you see the towers of ego inside your own heart, please don't keep it to yourself. Click subscribe, like this video, leave a comment with your thoughts, and share it with your friends and family. Every interaction from you is like a small brick that helps spread this message. a lesson about humility and returning to God to many more people.